Good evening. Thank you for joining us on Nationwide. On the network service of the NTA, I'm Ruth Aguela. President Muhammadu Buhari says compromise and concessions are imperative towards achieving peaceful resolution of the socio-economic, political and security crisis affecting the Republic of Mali. Addressing an extraordinary summit of the ECOWAS leaders on the situation, the president specifically made a case for all political actors to embrace call for a government of national unity that will ensure inclusion of participation in the affairs of governing the country. Let's hear from State House correspondent Adam Musambo.
The extraordinary summit of the ECOWAS heads of state and government on the socio-economic, political and security crisis in Mali is a follow-up to series of efforts made towards finding lasting solutions. These were at the level of Ministerial Committee, Special Envoy and Mediation Mission, as well as a select group of West African leaders in the context of ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. Addressing the virtual meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari said the various layers of efforts by ECOWAS using its instrumentality of peaceful resolution of crisis had provided clear roadmap towards containing the crisis in the Republic of Mali.
I feel therefore to all the Malian stakeholders to consider the proposals for the reform of the Constitutional Court and the established modalities for resolving the continuous 31 seats issue of the National Assembly. Equally significant is the need to address governance challenges whose manifestations are at the core of restiveness across the country. In order to address these matters holistically, it is important that all Malians embrace the call for a government of national unity.
Records show that the order by a judicial decision nullifying the election of 31 Malian parliamentarians and awarding victory to others believed to be favored by government provoked the spate of unrest and protest that became violent with tragic consequences.
We are still living and contending with the negative fallout from those incidents. It is necessary that we realize the general fragility of our sub-region, hedged in different layers of negative tendencies in the Sahel, hence the need for us to tread cautiously in handling the multiple challenges confronting our sub-region, especially the larger level of insecurity which terrorism and insurgency activities represent in West Africa.
President Buhari also made a case for development partners, the EU, France, African Union, and the United Nations to continue to support efforts at achieving security and stability in West Africa. From the State House, Adam Musambo, NTA News.
A look at other issues. The federal government has extended the Empower But See online application by 2 weeks. In a statement, the extension is to afford everyone an opportunity to register online and take into cognizance difficulties some people might encounter in gaining access to the registration portal, which has seen a record number of over 5 million applications. The online application process, which began on Friday, June 26, 2020, was to have ended Sunday, July 26, 2020. The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development states that the extension has become necessary to provide an equitable and level playing field to all eligible applicants. To To education, secondary schools in the country are to reopen as from the 4th of August 2020 for exit classes only. Students will have 2 weeks within which to prepare for the West African examinations due to start on the 17th of August 2020. These were the unanimous decisions reached at a virtual consultative meeting between the Federal Ministry of Education, Commissioners of Education of the 36 states, the Nigerian Union of Teachers, proprietors of private schools and chief executives of examination bodies. It was agreed that the exit classes should resume immediately after the Salah break from the 4th of August 2020 to enable them prepare for the WAEC examinations scheduled to commence from the 17th of August 2020. The meeting also resolved that a passionate appeal be made to the federal government through the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and public-spirited Nigerians for assistance to schools across the country to enable them fast-track the preparations for safe reopening as agreed. Another meeting is to be convened tomorrow between the Federal Ministry of Education and chief executives of examination bodies, LIMLI, NECO, NAPTEB, and NBAIS to harmonize the examination dates, which will be conveyed to stakeholders expeditiously. Let's bring you a situation report on the closure of Third Mainland Bridge. Motorists in Lagos have expressed frustration over the dense traffic situation experienced Monday while navigating the alternative routes to the Third Mainland Bridge, which is partially closed for repairs. Dotun Ogunyemi is on that.
On top the mainland bridge, since 5 o'clock, I just reached here. Look your time. Because all this mainland, you don't full for go slow.
We use like 3 hours on the road.
Motorists in Lagos narrating their experiences on the first work day of the week since the partial closure of the Third Mainland Bridge. As commuters, they cried the many hours spent in traffic.
The motor went through the Ikorodu Express Road, then it burst into the in-between.
Typical of Lagos, commercial activities are top of mind for residents, not minding the impact of their actions on the motoring public.
This kind of situation along some of the designated alternative routes is not peculiar to Oyingo and leaves much to be desired of traffic management efforts to decongest the roads.
A huge concern before the partial closure was checking the activities of articulated vehicles as they often impede free flow of traffic.
The person who won't pass our truck, he say there's no way.
We go pay money, they don't go allow me to go. And they go turn us. And since 2 weeks now, I don't suffer. I don't feel go out, I don't feel go anywhere.
And as the hectic day winds down, it was the view of many respondents that commuters embrace alternative means of transportation and proper knowledge of traffic advisory plans in the coming days. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
The leaders of the Southeast in a virtual meeting rose with the decision to collaborate with governors of other zones on possible ways to revitalize the Eastern Railway corridors. Kinsley Okoro has more.
Briefing newsmen at the end of the Southeast Leaders Visual Meeting, Chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum and Governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, said the decision became imperative after a series of appeals to the federal government to restore Eastern Railway corridors back on stream.
We discovered that there is no real funding available for this program. And we agreed to collaborate with the governors of South, Southeast, North Central, and Northeast to dialogue with the federal government to see that this project is to repair them, the terminals, to rebuild some of them that have collapsed. We want to see that this program is resuscitated and the funding is made available for this.
The leaders commended the federal government for their commitment and level of work done at the second Niger Bridge and Akanibian International Airport, Enugu, expected to reopen on 30th August 2020.
On the second Niger Bridge, we commend Mr. President very, very highly. The project is on course, and we are told that by July 2022, they will hand over the project. The bridge is quite progressing very well.
They called on the youth from the zone to play down on social media engagement and embrace federal government initiatives and programs to better their lots. In Abakaliki, Kingsley Okoro, NTA News.
Despite the challenges of coping with a new norm created by COVID-19 and the persistent rains in the south region of the country, work on the Akwa Ibom axis of the Calabar-Itu Road project is progressing. Clement Barrique reports that evaluation and enumeration for the second phase of the project is also at advanced stage.
The project, which has 12.5 kilometers in Akwa Ibom State and 9.5 kilometers in Cross Rivers, was slowed down due to some teething challenges. However, as at the time of this visit, about 2.5 kilometers of the road within the Ididep axis in Akwa Ibom State have been tarred, with the contractors promising to do more once funds are fully released. At the second phase of the road project, which takes off from Ikarakmene to Ididep, compensation has stalled progress of work as some community members erected illegal structures on the right of way.
So all those things that were built after the cost had been determined cannot be paid. So you will have to choose between being paid for freshly planted plantain and having this road done.
If it is a government policy that this thing should not be said, there is nothing we can do. But
it's my duty to deliver what I have heard today to them. I will advise them.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Tainang, had earlier urged the contractors to open up a section of the road to ease the suffering of motorists this rainy season. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
Well, today is the first working day after the closure of the busy Lagos Third Mainland Bridge. Well, for update and all the stories, let's join Ruth in Lagos now for that. Hello, Ruth.
Good to see you, namesake. A federal high court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, has sentenced two accused persons, Johnson Uche and Kingsley Mateke, to 2 years imprisonment each for the production of substandard engine oil. Joy Ken Abapoya has details.
At the commencement of the trial, counsel to the Standards Organization of Nigeria provided a video player and television set to enable the presiding judge watch video clips where the first and third accused persons, Johnson Uche and Kingsley Mateke, were caught producing the fake engine oil. They both pleaded guilty. Before delivering her judgment, Justice Oluremi Oguntoyibo asked counsel to the first and third accused persons to address the court. Counsel to the two defendants pleaded with the judge to temper justice with mercy. She said the accused persons have been at the Nigerian Correctional Center since their arrest last year, coupled with the coronavirus pandemic. Having listened to both counsels, Justice Oguntoyibo then sentenced the first and third accused persons to 2 years imprisonment to serve as a deterrent to others.
If you are an importer or a manufacturer, the news for you is to either bring those goods that are certified under the two programs, MANCAP and SUNCAP, which meet the requisite standard. Otherwise, the fate that befell these individuals will also befall those who are indulging in counterfeiting and substandard items.
Confident that my clients, being the second and fourth defendants, will be discharged and acquitted at the end of the day.
Meanwhile, the trial for the second and fourth accused persons will commence when the court resumes from its vacation. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abapoya, NTA News.
And from the Federal High Court in Lagos, we pause for a break. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Nigeria to flatten the curve on COVID-19, just as you can help flatten the curve on corruption. Follow transparency, accountability, and integrity just as you follow health guidelines. Stay home with integrity and maintain your distance from corruption, just as you stay away from COVID-19 by maintaining social distance. Report every act of corruption to ICPC, just as you report COVID-19 to NCDC. Stay away from corruption, stay safe from COVID-19. Report any act of corruption to ICPC on toll-free number 0800-2255-4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's look at the judiciary zone, where we hear that hearing has commenced in an application by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission seeking an order of the Federal High Court Abuja for the forfeiture of 48 property allegedly linked to the former chairman, Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, Dr. Ngozi Olejeme. Olabode Arewa reports that some interested individuals showed up during the court proceedings to lay claim to some of the property.
The properties as listed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission are located in the FCT, Bayelsa, Enugu, Edo, and Delta states. The respondent, Dr. Ngozi Olejeme, who is still at large, was arraigned along with the Managing Director of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, Umar Abubakar, on charges of fraudulent conversion of 69 billion naira of government funds to their personal use through the award of contracts to funds companies. Counsel to the EFCC, Ekele Iheanacho, told the court that the applicant was ready to execute the court's order on the forfeiture of the properties. However, three counsels claiming to represent interested parties showed up in the court, arguing that the properties belong to their clients and should not be forfeited to the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund. Justice Taiwo ordered them to provide further proof in support of their claims and adjourned the matter to the 26th of October 2020 for definite hearing of the case. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Let's look at the update on COVID-19. Nigeria's COVID-19 cases has risen to a total of 40,532, with the Nigeria Center of Disease Control confirming 555 new cases in 18 states on Sunday. Out of the 555 new cases, Lagos has 156 cases, Kano 65, Ogun 57, Plateau 54, Oyo 53 and Benue 43. FCT recorded 30 new cases, 18 in Ondo, 16 in Kaduna, 13 each in Akwa Ibom and Gombe, 12 in Rivers, 9 in Ekiti, 8 in Osun, 3 in Cross River. Borno and Edo states recorded 2 cases, while Bayelsa has 1 confirmed case. On the COVID-19 chart for states, Lagos State still has the highest with 14,456 confirmed cases, followed by FCT with 3,481 cases, while Oyo is third on the table with 2,570 cases. Out of the 40,532 in the country confirmed cases, 17,374 patients who have recovered have been discharged, with the death toll now 858. Well, in view of the rising cases, the Federal Road Safety Corps is to commence the enforcement and prosecution of motorists who violate the COVID-19 prevention rule in Ekiti State. Sector Commander of the Corps, Helen Akinlade, who stated this, notes that mobile court service will be engaged for quick dispensation of justice. Yemi Dalamo completes that report.
The federal and Ekiti state governments, while easing the COVID-19 lockdown, particularly on interstate travels, directed the reduction of passengers to promote the social distancing rule. Though observance to this directive by transporters and other protocols is not encouraging, the Federal Road Safety Corps in Ekiti State said enforcement of the directive will be aggressive to curtail the spread of coronavirus. Ekiti State Sector Commander of the Corps said this is in line with the Corps mandate contributing to the reduction and containment of the spread of the virus.
There are penalties for every violation of traffic rules and regulation. I've said it times and times again that we're going to be conducting mobile court now. Already we have commenced special patrol and full force. We're going to be apprehending all traffic rules and regulation violators. There shouldn't be overloading. There shouldn't be, for whatever reason.
The road safety boss explained that officials of the commission have been carrying out public enlightenment in public places, including markets, on the need for all to comply with the COVID-19 prevention rules. A visit to some motor parks in Ado-Ekiti revealed that compliance to the hand washing, use of sanitizer, checking the temperature of passengers are also being observed.
We are complying. Even some of our gadgets is here. Water and soap and everything is here.
The state government has, however, commenced the enforcement of the compulsory use of face masks in public places in Ado-Ekiti. Yemi Dalimo, NTA News.
The Household Uplifting Program of the federal government has made tremendous impact on the lives of many people in Bauchi State. Special advisor to the state governor, Amina Mohammed Katagum, made this known while declaring open a 4-day livelihood pilot orientation step-down training in Bauchi. Awal Abdullahi will tell us more.
The Livelihood Pilot Orientation Training organized by Bauchi State Cash Transfer Unit in collaboration with the National Cash Transfer Office is aimed at enabling the beneficiaries to make financial plans and engage in viable business activities in order to be self-reliant and contribute their quota to the state and the national economy. Facilitators are trained to extend the training to the beneficiaries in their communities. The National Program Coordinator, Cash Transfer Office, Dr. Temilope Sonkai, represented by the Livelihood Program Officer, Oyumuyiwa Baborunti, congratulated Bauchi State for representing the Northeast Geopolitical Zone in the pilot program and called on the beneficiaries to maximize the opportunity to better their lives.
We are testing how we deliver this intervention to the beneficiaries, and after that they will scale the impact evaluation of that to be done, and the lessons that we have learned will make us to know the best and effective way of delivering this intervention to our beneficiaries.
Special advisor to Bauchi State Governor on Social Investments, Amina Mohammed Katagum, commended the federal government for the gesture, which she said has positive impact in the lives of many people in the state.
We have 3 stages of the cash transfer office: the base, the top-up, and then the last one, the livelihood, which we are just introducing here in Bauchi 9. So the livelihood beneficiaries will be picked from that base that we already have. So once they are going to start benefiting from the livelihood, they will not be given any base again. And then new members or new beneficiaries will be enrolled.
Some of the facilitators who spoke to NTA News expressed commitment towards effective service delivery. The Livelihood Pilot Program started with Das and Ningi local government areas of Bauchi State. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
Still on CCT, but from Jigawa, ahead of the disbursement of another batch of conditional cash transfer fund, a federal government team was in Jigawa State to train facilitators of the program. Ibrahim Bello Gunda reports that beneficiaries selected from the poorest of the poor will receive 20,000 naira each for the next 4 months.
The training was organized to educate the participants on the basic components, skills, monitoring and evaluation of the program. Some of the participants of the workshop say they learned a lot and assured the organizers that they will deliver the message to the beneficiaries at various communities for the success of the program.
Teaching beneficiaries on how to be equipped on making themselves to be best.
I obtained knowledge in these programs which can assist me to forward it to my communities.
The National Livelihood Officer of the program, Babaranti Olumuyiwa, said the pilot program is taking place in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country to complement the cash given to the beneficiaries in order to create an enterprise mindset and generate activities for them to be self-reliant.
The essence is for them to have an enterprise, something that they are doing, a productive activity, income generating activity that they will rely on for them to be self-reliant so that they can stand on their own when the program is over.
She charged the participants to make judicious use of knowledge learned at the workshop and commended Jigawa State government for the success of the program. About 50 communities each from Gwiwa and Kogama local government areas of Jigawa State are to benefit from the pilot program under the National Cash Transfer Program of the Buhari-led administration. In Dutse, Ibrahim Bello Gunda, NTA News.
Let's now head to Port Harcourt to join Diba Bari. She has more reports for us.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. The River State Governor Nyesom Wike has attributed the success of his urban renewal program to financial prudence by his administration. The governor spoke after the inspection of ongoing urban renewal program in the city metropolis. Odgedinyekwe completes the report.
Determined to improve on the infrastructural developments in Port Harcourt metropolis, Governor Wike embarked on the urban renewal program to transform the new and old government residential areas. Impressed by the level and quality of work done at the various sites, especially the Rebisi flyover, which started less than a year ago and almost nearing completion, the governor cannot but attribute it to the hiring of contractors with capacity and prudent management of funds by his administration.
It's not up to 1 year. This project started October last year. We're in July, and you can see that it's almost completed.
Governor Wike noted that apart from putting smiles on the faces of Rivers people, he would want to be remembered for good legacies of his administration.
And that everybody, when you are given an opportunity, you must make a landmark. And for people to say, look, why you are the governor, you are the one who created and provided a lot of infrastructure that are enhance economic activities in the state.
He assured that all projects embarked upon by his administration will be completed before the expiration of his tenure. In Port Harcourt, Ogedinyekwe, NTA News.
Due to the challenges posed by fossil fuels, the world has continued in its quest for a shift to the use of renewable energy. How far has Nigeria gone in the process of actualizing the shift? The Environmental Rights Action, also known as Friend of the Earth, provides answers at the Sensitization Forum for Women in Port Harcourt. Robinson Derataide reports.
Fossil fuels are fuels derived from hydrocarbon deposits, such as coal, petroleum and natural gas, which are not renewable. The burning of these fuels generates the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide, which causes climate change, with its effects on global warming and regular flooding, environmental degradation, air and water pollution, and health hazards are other effects from the use of fossil fuels. Countries all over the world are developing strategies to limit their national greenhouse gas inventories by switching over to renewable energy.
In our own enlightened self-interest, to start thinking, how do we realign and rearrange our economic development processes.
There should be incentives that push women to study these courses so that we are the decision making when we are talking about energy.
Most of the women at home don't know the use or the usefulness of gas. If you ask them to use gas, they will say no, that they will prefer to use firewood.
Government and other concerned authorities are advised to key into the global renewable energy innovation. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Delateide, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. It's back to Ruth in Abuja for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thank you, Dibabari. The federal government is initiating a mangroves restoration project to mitigate coastal erosion and associated impact of degraded mangrove covers in Niger Delta. Onenge Finefest takes us on a ride through the creeks of the region where the project will be implemented.
Seafoods are common delights and ingredients in preparing meals and states of the Niger Delta region. They are some of the many biological diversity of mangroves. To better appreciate mangroves, we'll take a ride through creeks and rivers, savoring spectacle of calm waters and the beauties of thickets lining the shores. Mangroves serve as buffer against ocean surge, coastal erosion, as well as improve water quality by filtering pollutants and trapping sediments from the land. On closer observation, the true picture of the mangroves come to light. Pollution from hydrocarbon fuel. Mangrove ecosystems are now receptacles for pollutants in the Niger Delta region.
And so we have every reason to ensure that our mangroves are protected, because without them, there will be a collapse of the supply of fish in the world. And fish is the most accessible form of protein that assures our health. So the healthier the mangrove is, the healthier the population.
Like the Great Green Wall in northern Nigeria, establishing a mangroves conservation agency is considered of utmost importance in the region.
There has to be an agency to ensure that the coastal area of this country is not further washed away. The only thing we can do is to ensure that we multiply the little that is left of the mangroves.
In commemorating the 2020 International Day for the Conservation of Mangroves, the federal government is initiating a mangroves restoration project to remediate polluted forest covers and enhance sustainable livelihoods for people in coastal communities.
Nigeria has the largest mangrove cover in Africa and the third or fourth largest in the world, and we have neglected it over the years, and we're now suffering the consequences. So our solutions to coastal erosion and loss of biodiversity for coastal communities is in mangrove restoration. So that is what we are taking up now.
The theme for 2020 commemoration is Towards a Sustainable Use of Mangrove Wood Resources. In Abuja, Onengiye Finefest, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the naming of some railway stations along the Lagos-Ibadan corridor and others on the Itakpe, Ajakuta, Alaja, Warri after some deserving Nigerian citizens. Minister of Transportation Chibuike Rotimi Amici disclosed this in a statement that the deserving citizens have contributed to the progress and development of their respective communities and the nation at large. For the Lagos-Ibadan with extension to the Lagos Port Complex at Apapa Railway Station, the beneficiaries are Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Apapa Station, Mobolaji Johnson, Ebute Meta Station, Babatunde Raji Fashola, Agege Station, Latif Jakonde, Agbado Station, and Professor Yemi Oshibajo, Kajola Station. Others are Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, Papalanto Station, Professor Wale Shoinka, Abiakuta Station, Shegun Oshoba, Olodo Station, Ladoka Akintola, Omio Adio Station, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Ibadan Station, and Chief Alex Ekweme, Operation Control Center. For the Itakpe Ajakuta Alaja Warri Railway, the names are Alaji Adamu Ata, Itakpe Station, Dr. Olushola Saraki, Ajakuta Station, Admiral Augustus Aikomo, Itogbo Station, Brigadier General George Ini, Agenebode Station, Anthony Eromosele Enahoro, Enahoro, Uromi Station, Chief Tom Ikimi, Ekehen Station, and Brigadier General Samuel Osagbovu, Ogbe Mudia Retired, Igbanke Station. Others are Goodluck Egbele Jonathan Agbo Station Complex, Brigadier General David Ejo, Abraka Station, Michael Ibru, Opara Station. Let's head to Ibadan to join Adebola for more nationwide.
Policing, professionalism, and upholding fundamental human rights of citizens are strategic to transformation agenda of the Nigerian police. This is the message of the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, delivered by the DIG Southwest Zone at the IG's Transformation Agenda lecture held in Ibadan. Rafia Animashan Badmos has details.
Reiterating the core values of policing, DIG Southwest Zone Adeleye Oyebade maintained that honesty, diligence, perseverance, and discipline are key for any police officer to achieve greatness in the job. He said the concept of community policing is about problem solving, which should involve partnership with the people at the grassroots.
Community partnership. Number 2, problem solving. Number 3, organizational transformation. That's where you have to connect with NGOs and other people. Then we have talked about the ideals of intelligence-led policing. I think that one is very straightforward.
The DIG urged policemen to shun corruption in all areas, as whoever is caught will face the full wrath of the law. In Ibadan, Rafia Animashan Badmos, NTA News.
Figures of COVID-19 infections continue to rise, with Nigeria contributing its significant proportion to the global burden. This calls for strict compliance to the COVID-19 protocols to flatten the curve. In Ibadan, sensitization on the protocol of wearing face masks in the public places is quite high. But how properly are the residents using their face masks? Dayo Gushola has more.
Data of coronavirus pandemic on the dashboard of Nigeria Center for Disease Control put the total number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria to an all-time high of 40,000, with more than 800 fatalities. Oyo State occupies third place on the table released with more than 2,000 infections, even as the transmission has moved into various communities. Wearing a face mask is therefore one of the course of actions recommended for members of the public to take responsibility in order to flatten the curve. For many in Ibadan, it is business as usual. Access to public places in the state is however restricted to only use of face mask. This has continued to breed army of face mask merchants who hawk various colors and brands.
We always tell them that they should always use it, but they will be saying no, unless if they want to enter secretariat, that they prefer using it.
When one pulls down the mask to the chin level, the viruses that are trapped on those parts of the body are dragged down to the area of the chin, and by the time you are taking it back to your face, you can actually have the mask having the viruses that have crept in.
Of concerns to stakeholders is the proper use of face mask, while the use of face shield is also assuming a new status conveyor.
It's not like I'm a big man. So if you using this one doesn't mean you are a big man. I just prefer this one. The face shield does not offer that much protection as the face mask.
As the world continues to battle the common enemy, the crux of the message is that everyone must take responsibility. In Ibadan, Dayo Gushola, NTA News.
That's it from Ibadan. It's back to you in Abuja, Ruth. Good evening.
Thank you, Adebola. But we pause for a moment. We're going on a break. We're back shortly. Stay tuned.
The chances of victims surviving COVID-19. A corruption-free society creates opportunities for citizens to thrive and prosper. Build your immunity. Stop corruption now. Report all acts of corruption to ICPC on this toll-free number 0800 22 55 4272.
This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case, or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
This world is not my home.
The burial program of our late father, Pastor Dr. Gabriel Olufemi Olafemion, who slept in the Lord on Thursday, May 21st, 2020, at the age of 79 years. A service of songs on Wednesday, July 29, 2020, at the Apostolic Church Nigeria, Events Hall, Lona International Convention Grounds, Olorunda Ketu, Lagos. Time 4 p.m. Christian Wake-up service on Thursday, July 30th, 2020. Venue, the Apostolic Church Nigeria, Akata Ogbomoso. Time 5 p.m. Service at home on Friday, July 31st, at his residence, Okeapata Street, near Olorunshogo Baptist Church, Okeapata Ogbomoso. Time 8 a.m. Interment follows immediately at his residence. Outing and Thanksgiving service on Friday at the Apostolic Church Nigeria, Akata Ogbomoso. Time 10 a.m. Government laid down rules for social gatherings shall be observed. Only family members and concerned people are expected. Others should watch on GTV and internet. Pastor Dr. G.O. Olafemion. Till we meet to part no more. Sleep well. Announcer, Pastor J.K. Ibidapo, Chairman, Burial Planning Committee.
Thanks for staying tuned. Sokoto State Governor signs revised 2020 appropriation bill into law. Musa is standing by in Lagos, and Sokoto, I beg your pardon, he has the details. Musa?
Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol has signed into law the 2020 revised appropriation bill. Dalhata Abdullahi reports that the State Executive Council also approved the award of contract for 3 more projects in the state. The report.
The 2020 appropriation figures were initially 202.4 billion naira as proposed, but cut down to 153 billion naira to conform with the current economic realities occasioned by the global coronavirus pandemic. The revised 2020 COVID-19 budget figures now stands at 164 billion naira. The initial appropriation bill for the 2020 fiscal year was assented to by Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol on the 27th of December 2019 after legislative processes. In a related development, the State Executive Council has approved the reconstruction of Abdullahi Barau Government Secondary School Dogondaji at over 2 billion naira, construction of Government Girls Science Academy at Kasarawa to the tune of over 2.4 billion naira, and 8.3 kilometer Colonel Kimba Zamo to Kora Local Government Road at over 212 million naira. The council also approved the draft bill for the establishment of Sokoto State Malaria Elimination Agency and approved provision of the tax relief and incentives for taxpayers and businesses operating in the state to cushion the effect of COVID-19 pandemic.
As a result, the government has suspended the presumptive tax collection from April 2020 till January 1st, 2029 for all businesses.
The aim of the tax relief is to reduce the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic that affected the income of individuals in Sokoto. Dalat Abdullahi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Sokoto State Government has taken delivery of 3 locally fabricated motorized modular fumigators. Dalhata Abdullahi reports that the fumigators were donated to the state by the Oni of Ife, Oba Enitan Adeyeye Ojaja II.
These are the 3 motorized modular fumigators being displayed and tested before the formal handing over to the Sokoto state government. The motorized modular fumigators are part of ONI's contribution to the fight against coronavirus in the country. The modular fumigators, which are fabricated at the ONI's palace, are to be used for wider fumigation exercise in government agencies, educational institutions, public places of worship, and markets across the country. So far, the ONI has extended his hand of friendship in the fight against coronavirus through the donation of 67 of these fumigators to 33 states. Similar facilities will be presented to the NCDC and the states yet to be reached.
Baba said we should give it to you because he wants the people of Sokoto State to keep safe and stay safe during this pandemic.
Receiving the fumigators on behalf of Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol, the Sokoto State Deputy Governor Munir Muhammad Danya thanked the Oni of Ife for his generosity and the concern to the health of Nigerians.
On behalf of His Excellency and the good people of Sokoto State, we really thank you very much for the visit and for this gesture.
One of the 3 modular fumigators will be forwarded to the Sultan's palace. In Sokoto, Alat Abdullahi, NTA News.
Well, that's it from here. It's back to you, Ruth.
Thank you, Musa. The Buhari administration is repositioning the mines and steel sector to contribute a projected 5% to national gross domestic product by 2025. Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamilekan Adegbite, stated this on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria while discussing strategies to regulate the sector. Alika Okpanachi Arua reports.
Mines and steel exploration in Nigeria took a backseat in terms of economic focus following the nation's shift to oil and gas sector in the 60s. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria identified lack of bankable data, funding and infrastructure as some of the challenges of mining in Nigeria. This is why in the short term, the federal government is working towards formalizing the activities of artisanal miners scattered around the country, in addition to attracting foreign investors.
The roadmap is on course. One of the initiatives that comes out of the roadmap is what I started when I came into office, and that's part of the beneficiation, that's the downstream policy, where either though we've been taking out our minerals, in the raw form, and of course thereby we lose a lot of money in that form. The ultimate goal is that no mineral will leave Nigeria as raw ore anymore. That's the ultimate goal.
With ongoing efforts to revive the Ajaokuta Steel Complex and encourage local production of bitumen, things are looking up in the sector.
As far as we are concerned in the 9th Senate, is to give a backup in terms of legislation, because we have found some contradictions within the regulation in the sector.
There was also advocacy for support to artisanal miners.
What we have to do is to key in, collaborate, and see that the activity progress.
Having commenced on the 30th of June 2020. The Presidential Task Force has continued to evaluate the developments as well as the level of compliance nationwide and has regrettably come to the inevitable conclusion that majority of Nigerians, irrespective of status, creed, and level of education, continue to live in denial on the virulent nature of the virus and consistently breach the guidelines and non-pharmaceutical measures put in place. We informed you 2 weeks ago that the process of submitting the 6th interim report and recommendations for next steps had commenced. The Presidential Task Force has reached advanced stages of the process. It has also considered that due to the upcoming Salah, Eid al-Kabir festivities, which coincides with the expiration of the current phase, it will be prudent to extend by 1 week from 29th July till Thursday, 6th August 2020, It has accordingly secured permission to retain the existing guidelines till that date. Considering the importance of international air travel to the economy, the Presidential Task Force and the aviation sector are working hard to fast-track reopening of the international airspace. Most importantly, the arrival protocols for passengers on inbound flights are being firmed up for seamless testing and detection. Relevant MDAs will be holding further consultations. The COVID-19 remains very virulent and very dangerous. Current statistics show the following. Global cases recorded now stands at 16,380,397 cases from 215 countries and territories. Global deaths stand at 651,198, while global recoveries stand at about 10 million recoveries. On the continent of Africa, cases are, as of today, 848,771 cases, death toll 17,791, and about 500,000 recoveries. In Nigeria, cases as of today stand at 40,532 cases with fatalities of 858, while about 17,000 recoveries. The WHO statistics show that on the 24th July 2020, the world recorded 284,000 plus confirmed cases and 9,750 deaths. Both were records in terms of the spike in the daily numbers, and they represent a red flag to all nations. That in spite of almost 6 months of tackling COVID-19, an investment in billions or trillions of dollars, we still recorded the highest number on the 24th of July. And that's a clear picture of what is confronting the entirety of humanity. Our analysis has shown that people over 50 years of age, especially those with underlying factors, remain most at risk. This position is backed by the fact that 65% of fatalities recorded in Nigeria are in this category. So if you take the figure of 558 fatalities in Nigeria, 65% of these fatalities fall between the age bracket of 50 and above. That brings me to the need to appeal to Nigerians on the need for a change of behavior and compliance with measures put in place. If you do not need to go outside your home, please stay indoors. If you do not need to attend any occasion, avoid large gatherings and observe all the measures that have been introduced. In recent times, our risk communication teams have developed messages aimed at resonating very well with different demographic groups. The common string is the message for compliance and the proper wearing of face masks and coverings in public spaces. The national coordinator would elaborate further on this. Yesterday, being Sunday, I decided to just drive outside the city of Abuja for the second time again. And this time, instead of going to the Kuje area, I decided to go to the Karu, Nyanya, Jukoi, Aurozo area. And to my utter disappointment, people are just moving around as if there is nothing like COVID-19. I think that of Kuje was even better. I saw 3 people wearing masks, two wearing them inappropriately under their chin, with only one that had it properly worn. That of Karu, Jukoi, Orozo area, people were just on their own, doing whatever they wanted to do with themselves, in total disregard for the non-pharmaceutical measures that have been put in place. And we are at the stage of community transmission. I believe the national coordinator will be elaborating further on the need for strict adherence to this compliance, to these measures that have been put in place.